40 degrees
launch yesterday?
Oh, yes. I watched it.
What
Yeah.
was that, Greg? I couldn't hear. What was that?
SpaceX it was test number 6.
Really?
From,
That's pretty amazing what he's doing right now. Yeah. That's you gotta give a guy credit where credit is due. That's for sure.
No, I gotta point out, as the guy who mixed Artemis, if you sit back and go ahead and listen to that launch, it sounds like a damn high school basketball game.
What do you mean by that?
Listen to the mix.
Right? What mix?
The mix of the launch.
Oh, so they broadcast the sound as well for this launch. Right.
Yeah. And
people are talking all the way through it.
Huh?
People are talking all the way through it.
Yeah, talking, and then when it launches, there's all their engineers going, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really good to see them all excited though. They work hard.
It's good to see them excited, but mute them.
Yeah, when the ship takes off, I really want to hear the ship take off. But other than that, 30 seconds or a minute for it to get off the ground, then they can turn all that back on again.
I've got an HD 96K recording with 6 mics of Falcon Heavy takeoff, and man, when you play that on this thing up loud, the entire room shakes.
So I'll put you up with 1,100 microphones for Artemis 1 launch. You go ahead, and you can find it on YouTube. YouTube isn't Atmos, but it is out there, Chris. Go up.
I'm Googling now.
9-minute mark, and that's my mix. And that was on Abbott S6L, and no limiters. If the microphones died, they died.
I got to use one of those next week.
I'm going to get off for now. I'm checking into the hotel. I'll be back hopefully while you guys are still on.
All right.
There you go. Well, check into the hotel for me too.
No, I don't at all know Pro Tools. No.
Oh, ouch. Okay. Well,
why? I'm not using it. So.
Well. Okay.
I'm just mixing the show.
Well, no. All I'm saying is that the routing mechanics are, it's native Pro Tools routing.
Yeah, the house engineer is going to be there with me, and it's a pretty simple show, but it's the MMA awards show.
Oh, okay.
So I have a funny story about rockets taking off. You're gonna love this one. It's not quite as cool as yours, Greg, but it's very funny.
And so I take it it's a non-sexual story, right?
No, not sexual at all.
Okay, very good. Rockets taking off. That's it.
I could make it sexual if you want me to, but
well, please do. We have nobody.
Look at him.
Aren't we on air? We're on the air now, aren't we?
We are on the air. Yeah. And I'll tell you one other thing. We got a lot of viewers right now. I can't even believe how many viewers we've got. Of course, I'm making this up. I don't know if anybody's watching. But by the way, if you are, remember, everything you hear is an opinion. Do your own research. This is the 334th time we've been together, thinking out loud. We'd love you to be part of the panel. So if you like us, click the like button. There you go. Click the like button. That's me. Where is it? Click the like button. There you go. Click the like button. Okay. Go ahead. Tell us the story.
Okay. So do you guys remember, and you guys are all high tech, so you'll probably know about this. And I can't remember the name of the company. It'll probably come to me in a little while. They built a landing pad, and they used 2 submarines, and they built this landing pad, and it sinks down in the water, and they cruise out to like the equator, and then they launch from the equator. And they had this great big ship that they would drive out there that carried the missile or whatever they were launching, right? And that was the control room. And God, I cannot. And this was like 20 years ago. I can't remember the name of this thing, but it was mind-bogglingly huge, and they kept it at Long Beach. And the production company, we had the employees and the people that were going to sponsor it and some other stuff at this party in this warehouse that we were going to project the launch on these big screens, right? So they agreed on X amount of money for the sound system, and and that was all fine and good. So it's basically a lectern, and it's a couple of videos of some of the sponsors, and then it's watch the launch online, right? So, but what wasn't in the paperwork, and what I didn't say to anybody is I brought like 20 dual 18s to put behind the screen, and nobody knew, right? So I had these wimpy little speakers. It was for about 500 people in this warehouse, right? So we played the opening video and we announced the VP or whoever the hell it was, and he gets up and he talks for 5 minutes. So it was in the SR1 days, the Rankis Heinz days. So I had about maybe 16 of these 15 and a 2-inch traps hanging around for delays and everything, right? And it was all wonderful and everything. And then they did the countdown, and then they launched the rocket, and I just kicked those subwoofers and all the dirt and the down cans fell down out of the ceiling on top of all these people in like tuxedos. It was the funniest freaking thing, man. The dirt was all over the place, and all these lights were hanging by these cables, and the lights were flickering and going on and off, and we shook that place. And the guy looks over at me and he smiles and he goes, "Yeah."
Yeah, I mean, they got the real feel of a rocket launch. Unbelievable.
I says, "Hey man, you wanted to launch this rocket, so we freaking launched the rocket."
Cool, man. That's a great story.
It was wonderful. The reaction was absolutely priceless, because they had no bloody clue. Nobody walked backstage, and I just had this stuff all stacked up for days, and man, we just kicked that thing into gear and off we went. And it was just like, holy shit, the building damn near fell down,
I wonder did anybody defecate in their pants from that kind of the subwoofer experience?
No, but you know what? When I was out with Kool and the Gang in the late 70s, I used pink noise for the first time in the Palace Theater in Albany, New York. And there was like 6 of us getting sick to our stomach. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to get people, believe it or not, with Turbo Sound. Turbo Sound were one of the TMS 4s, and then they had the 30-inch subwoofers.
Oh, the effects subwoofers. I had 4 of those, and boy, they didn't take much power at all.
No, but boy, they moved some freaking air.
50 watts, and you could knock buildings down with those things.
Yeah.
I mean, the military should have had those damn things.
With Maiden, we would do like a typical hockey arena, and we'd have 12 aside.
Wow.
Oh yeah, when Nico hit a kick,
so
you're talking about walking a water bottle.
I had 4 of them, and they were the size of a small van, and they had 30-inch EV 30-inch drivers in them, and every box got like 50 watts. So, I had these little Crown amplifiers, and I'll tell you, I'd stack them up and I'd measure out, and I'd face them in the corner, and we could shake buildings down with those things. It was unbelievable.
But, those are the days of horizontal range,
Yeah. Point source.
Greg, when I hear your stories, I'm amazed that you still have any hearing left.
What?
Yeah, what?
No.
Yeah, exactly. What?
No. And I was the sacrificial engineer. I literally, my audiologist told me, if you have to take 10 years off.
I'm afraid to death to get my ears checked.
Well, you could do it in the privacy of your own home now. The new Apple AirPods now has this test.
Heard.
It's pretty good. I've gone. It's a little too long for me to sit alone, in a dark room, listening to tones, for me to follow, to go through the whole test. But yeah, I hear it, and plus you could use it as hearing aids.
Traumatic big bursts into one's ears. Audio engineers are okay, because the first thing you want to do after a mix, a very loud mix, I'm talking, above, 115 dBA rated at the desk, at the end of that, you just put on your headphones and then relax. You know, you don't, you know, the people that I find that are more deaf than I am, I've lost, but I know exactly what I've lost, are the people that are listening to high volume continuously for long periods of time.
You know, what's funny is I had a friend of mine get his ears checked, and they give you the curve afterwards, and then it affected his mixing because he knew that he had an issue in the high end. And so I always said I'm not going to get my ears checked until I retire, because people, after every show, somebody comes up to me and says, God, the system sounded really good. And you know what? That's all I care about. They're paying me,
That's
absolutely.
When somebody says, hey, there's too much high end in the system, then I'll start worrying about it. But right now.
Well, Mr. Wilcox is a good example. He did monitors for KISS for years. And their monitors were way more loud and in the piercing frequencies that will just kill your ears. But over the years, there was degradation, but the desk allow you, once you get, like Jan says, you can get a curve. You take that to your audiologist, bang, they're in your in-ears, and
really,
yeah, you can put that in your load that curve into your in-ears, and that's it.
Wow.
So you mix it the way you like to hear it, and all those, because when you get old, you lose high frequency.
Yeah.
That's it, I
thought you lose mid-range as well. You could, because that's basically the articulation of people's voices.
Upper mid-range, yeah. Upper mid, yeah.
But as you get old,
try to be funny, and I was going to say when Bo whistles at Jan, he doesn't hear her. But
I have selective hearing, by the way. I just
you know what? I think all guys have selective hearing.
Yeah, very selective.
My wife tells me that all the time.
Yeah,
we have noise.
It's like, no, seriously, I always tell Bo the same thing. If you want to talk to me, say my name first, because then I know to pay attention.
Yes, exactly.
But if you just walk in and say blah 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 blah, what? I'm sorry, what were you talking to me? I just say, hey Jan, and I'll immediately pay attention, because and then I can catch it right from the beginning. I don't miss the stream of the information, and then I could respond. But when I get it from the middle, because I'm concentrating on something else, then it's very difficult.
So my wife says to me, well, what the hell are you listening to? And I said, Annie, I says, I'm listening to the air conditioning. I'm listening to the trucks on the street. I'm listening to the birds on the tree outside. I'm listening to everything except you. Unless you say, hey, Bruce, then I'll say, what? And then I'll listen to you. But if you don't call my name, I am not listening.
So it's universal. I thought it was unique to me. I
thought it was a sound guy thing, to be honest with you.
No, it's unique to me. Hey, Chris. See, it works.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
I was just going to say, in the hearing thing, all of us, everyone loses hearing as you get older, but obviously some people lose their hearing with nothing to do with listening to audio. But the other thing that happens to both, and this may be incorrect, but either musicians or sound people or audio people, they listen all their life. If they do it all their life, they get a connection between sounds that a normal, regular person with maybe even better hearing doesn't have. So even though, as you get older, even though you lose a bit of hearing, you've got a better connection to sounds. Would that be I think that's a true statement. And
I would agree.
You're concentrating on frequencies, the drone of what's going on, you're you're
We
not.
shut that off. We shut that off.
Yep, exactly, Bruce.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you take that to a guy who's on an aircraft carrier and listen to the drone of jets day in and day out, yeah, he's hurting.
So I always tell people when they say, so how do you do, what are you listening to when you're listening to corporate shows all the time? Because I do corporate, right? And I says, listen, the most dangerous thing for me to do is like an investment conference or a really high-tech conference. Like if we're doing something for the military and they're talking about, secret shit or electronic stuff or something. I says, because if I start listening to the content, then I'll miss all kinds of cues.
Right.
I cannot listen to what they're saying. I have to listen to the PA. I have to listen to their voice in the room. I have to, all of a sudden somebody will open the door and it'll squeak and I have to determine instantly if that's like a lab feeding back or if that's a door behind me that opened in a ballroom, which they all freaking squeak. It drives me crazy. And, so I will go like, on a week, listening to all these people talk and my wife, I'll come home and they'll say, so what'd they talk about? It's like, I don't have a clue what they talked about. If I listened to what they talk about, I'd be in a world of shit.
Yeah, you got to listen for your cues, but from the show caller. Otherwise, you will
Right.
definitely get lost if you start concentrating on what they're talking about.
And the PA in the room too. I listen constantly to I am tuned to the show caller keywords, and then the room, what the room's doing, and
Right. And
the
you're
content doesn't even exist to me.
And I know a lot of musicians who played in very loud bands, stage volume, drummers who, I mean, all of them. But if they're concentrating on what's going on, this is before click tracks and all that kind of stuff. They're not heard as much as the people hanging on the barrier.
Well, I'll say this about that in regards to that. When I was younger, and I used to go to concerts. This is, I guess, they had just invented electronics. Anyway, when I would go to a concert, the way we would tell whether or not it was a loud show is that when we left, our ears were ringing. That's how we knew that. Wow, they were loud.
It was how long your ears would ring.
Right? How long?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But now that I know better,
for 10 days after that. Well, aren't they freaking cool?
Yeah, but now I know better that wasn't loud. That was distortion. I was hearing distortion.
Yeah, distortion, perceived loudness. Yeah, because I went to enough Rush concerts that were on like totally trick PA systems where you didn't realize how loud it was until you talked to the person next to you.
Right.
I would bring earplugs to the Rush concert and I'd be sitting, maybe 20 feet from the guy mixing from Scoville or whoever was mixing. And I would think it's all punchy and really sounding great. And I would think, I brought my earplugs, but I don't need to use them because it's not that loud. And then I'd look over at my, my brother or my son or whoever was with me at the concert, and I'd start talking to him and he would be oblivious. It's like, oh my God, it's loud as hell,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got to yell in his ear.
Yeah. And then you realize just how loud it really is.
Yeah.
It was great though. Everything was great though in that era.
Oh man, I'll tell you.
I
only went to one bad Rush show, and I looked at Scoville like, I said to him, I said, how can you be okay with this? It was at the LA Forum before it got sold to whoever it got sold to, and they redid it to do churches in there. But I was sitting about 6-7 feet from Scoville when he was mixing, and it was so bad, I could not, and it wasn't his mix. I could not tell what song they were singing because the reverberation in the room was so bad. It sounded like people rolling garbage cans down the middle of the...
Bruce,
I said, how can you do this? This is terrible.
And at that time at the Forum, I did gigs right around then. There was the whole thing about you can't, sight lines.
Yes.
You can't, and it was
So
just
when
the beginning of aimable arrays.
yes,
You
yes.
know, you still have baskets. You still,
So when I did the Toyota launch in 19, I think it was 81 of the Celica Supra T-top,
right.
we were in half of the forum, and we put up perforated screens, and they built roads so they could drive the cars down through the back seats and jump them through the screens, and then up onto the audience, and then onto the turntables, right?
Wow.
And yeah, oh, it was a killer show. It was a dealer show, and we were launching the new Supra. And they just shit their pants, because when I did the spec for the show, I had like 64 Apogee 3x3s, because that was I'd hired Bruce Burns to do it with me, because
Right.
he had great
He
gear.
had the Apogee.
Yeah. Oh, he's the Apogee boy. Yeah. And I had some Myers MSL3s and some original MSL3s and UPAs. And I only had like 16 of them, and I needed a huge ass system for that place.
Right.
But I hung, right? You gotta believe this. I hung 400 feet of 22-foot velour drape up in the ceiling above everybody's heads to calm that goddamn room down.
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of velour.
Yes, we spent more money on drape than we did, doing the PA, because, and people would say, well, why are you doing that? I says, dude, I've been doing too many shows in this goddamn room. And I says, we'll never understand anything anybody says on the stage, if we don't calm this room down. So we draped half the room off, and then behind me, up in the back, we hung extra, hundreds of feet of 22-foot drape, velour drape to slow the waves down in the roof of the room, It was,
that was smart of you
brutal.
in those days. It was smart of you. Very, very smart of you to be able to figure that out.
And nowadays we got SoFi, which is even worse.
That I was just going to say, when I went to the
I haven't
Stones,
heard. Is it bad?
When I went to see the Stones at SoFi, it sounded just like what you described, rolling trash cans.
Yeah, it's just no excuse in this day and age. No excuse.
No, the band was called Rolling Stones, not Rolling Trash Cans.
But the thing is these buildings are not built for that.
No, they're not built for that.
They're built as sports stadiums, and you blast loud thumping music in as much as possible, pack as many people in, and they're not built for concerts.
Well, those were the days. Now they have to be. Now they need multi-purpose.
Yeah, but SoFi's not that old.
And I disagree.
SoFi's just a couple of years old. It's not that old.
No, and they spent billions on it. And you have to understand there are two separate objectives. There's the objective of when it's game day and you want it to be loud. And then there's the objective when there's a concert and you want it to be flat and quiet. And the two cannot coexist. And if they were to try to do acoustic treatments for SoFi, it would be an 8-figure number.
Oh, it would be impossible.
There's a theater that I used to do LA Cellular shows in southern LA County. It's right off the 5. I'll think of the name of it in a minute. But anyway, we used to do shows in there, and they would set up for in the round boxing, or they could do like many different things, and all of the bleachers in the front of house and everything. They had these massive pumps, and they would pump air into these sections, and one person could push 200 seats because they'd ride on a cushion of air. So they could reconfigure the whole place in 3 hours, right? But what really impressed me is it was an arena type design. So it was sort of an oblong, like an oval, right? And inside the building, they had these fat drapes. They were they were like your grandmother would make a quilt, and they were 80 feet long or 100 feet long and 4 feet wide, and they were on these rollers, and they would push a button, and we'd go in there to do an LA Cellular show, and they had just gotten done doing some sports thing. So they'd reconfigure the room, and then they'd push a couple of buttons, and all these panels would come down, and it would totally change the sound of the room, because the whole building was just concrete walls with steel roof. And, and I needed it reasonably dead, because I was going to put an executive on the stage and do a show with 6,000 in the audience, so.
Those were the days. Those were the days.
I always think that acoustic treatment of most rooms is the winner for getting good sound.
Oh, it'll make it or break it. Yeah.
And the other thing that's happened.
The bottom line, though, Wayne, is the people who want to put as many people in the seats as possible and have them spend as much money as possible on any given day win out against acoustic treatment.
Oh yeah, yes, probably correct. But
Yeah.
The other thing that happens is that I think that maybe not at Mega World, but the stage levels have come down, especially in the smaller. Would that
because of in-ears?
Yes, because of in-ears.
Oh, maybe.
But I was looking at the rock.
It varies.
I tell you, I went and saw Sting at the Wiltern on Saturday night, and it was Claire.
I drove by and saw the marquee. I was like, "Whoa, that's cool!" You were there?
Yeah, so it was Claire.
Wow.
They were mixing on a Ravage, and it was very nice. It's not that large, and
it's a great theater.
No.
Yeah.
And the sound was fantastic. I mean, the issue was that Sting had one of these little mics that comes out like that, and
he had a headset mic. Yeah.
It just sounded boxy, and curiously there was no processing on his voice at all. There were a couple of I was there with some engineers, and
was it a big one or was it a teeny one?
No, it's the small one.
Because the small ones, if they're cardioids and you get them in the right place, they sound really good. The problem is they don't take sound pressure too well, and you can flap them around a lot. And a cardioid is very susceptible to popping air all the time too.
Yeah,
artists don't want a pop filter.
Yeah. No,
not on the Level M.
He had a little thing on it, but there was no reverb at all. They didn't just wetten his voice with a little bit of reverb. You could hear the reverb on drums and all of that, but it was still a very good show, and then the audio was magnificent in that very nice, sound controlled room. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that Sting played the Wiltern because the night before, or at least a couple of days before, he was playing Allegiant Stadium with Billy Joel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a one-off. This is his V3 tour, and but he did do 4 nights.
Well,
Wow.
They do. Billy Joel and Sting do. I mean, they played Raymond James Stadium, and the second week in February, the coldest week in Florida, which is,
you just don't sweat as much.
Well, hey, it's 40 degrees on Showtime.
Wow.
When they went on stage. But
is that centigrade?
The point is
that centigrade?
Fahrenheit, sir.
Okay, Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Oh, you're getting ready for your flight home.
I am getting ready for my flight home.
Yeah.
So have you guys done a show in the MGM Arena?
Oh, God.
Yeah, we did a bunch of corporate things for Hewlett Packard in there, and I was amazed that room is very well behaved. And when I went to the back wall to figure out what the hell it was, because it looked like concrete blocks, but it wasn't. It was as if somebody, the whole arena, as if somebody stacked up bales of hay and then sprayed it with a spray can. It was this porous material, and I was like, I don't know what the hell they built this building out of, but man, this sounds great. I couldn't believe it.
There's some interesting sounding halls in Vegas. Probably David has more insight to that. I mean, I've only done like 3 shows in my lifetime in Vegas versus, I've done tons of arenas, but David,
there's so many showrooms in Vegas, and they are acoustically treated, and they have major. I mean, the Coliseum is a great place to hear. They have a great sound in the Coliseum.
All
right. And then they have the ballrooms in those hotels, which all sound like ass.
We're loading in. Jan, I'll talk to you next week, maybe. Goodbye.
All right. Bye.
Good
Thank you.
David.
Take
care, best man. Yeah, like the interesting thing about it is when I worked for A1, on New Year's Eve, we had a PA system in almost every ballroom. Every ballroom, they had some act playing somewhere, and all major caliber acts. Not
Right.
like that anymore, but that's how it used to be.
Yeah. Well, well, I got to ask you, it's F1 weekend and you're bugging out like today.
Well, F1 weekend, I think, is it next weekend? I think it's the weekend
No.
after Thanksgiving.
No, it's like the 17th or something of December, isn't it?
Yeah,
No, November.
I mean, Kim Millman, he's a photographer for F1. He's there today. So it starts this weekend.
I'll be out
He's
there
doing
on the
it.
1st of December, and I think it's over
No,
by then.
no.
Saturday, November 23rd. Yeah, 3 days from now.
Yep. And practice starts like they start closing everything down. Let's say tomorrow.
I'll be gone. Thank God I'll be gone. But the reality is, because I leave after this show, and we're going to cut the show exactly on time today, maybe a few minutes early. But the reality is that I have been up and down the strip. Unfortunately, I didn't mean to. It was just one of those things that happened to happen. And it's like there's trussing on all over the place. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
light trussing. They've got ACLs, aircraft landing lights there. They've got trussing. They've got gates. They've got. I mean, it's pretty weird to see what they're going to be doing. It's almost like they built a prison for the race cars, where the race cars will be.
They did the overbridges. Did you go over?
No, I saw the overbridges, and the overbridges are all sealed off. You can't see.
Yeah.
You can't see them
Yeah.
because they don't want people distracted. They don't want and they definitely don't want people throwing things on the street.
Yeah, yeah.
So they've made it so they made it like a prison.
There's a YouTube guy that I follow, KYMILLMAN.
Can you spell that for us?
Kilo, Yankee, Mike, India, Lima, Alpha, November.
Yeah, he's an F1 photographer, and he's done like 10 shorts on what Las Vegas is. He's been there since Monday, and they're real informative. I would never want to go there right now.
Well, I can't blame you, but I'm telling you, I'm here right now, and other than the strip, everything's normal.
Right.
Everything's normal. I have a feeling that there's going to be a more complaining going on about the businesses that people can't get to their businesses to buy stuff. I think that's going to be a problem again. But fortunately for us, we don't have that problem.
By the big guys like the Winds and the Bellagio's and everything, to where all their high limit rooms, made bank.
Last year, the Formula One people were going around and talking to businesses that were in tall buildings that actually had some kind of view down onto the race course. And they said, either you pay us or we will shine blinding light into your windows.
Yep.
Really?
That's happened in Miami. The same thing.
That's pretty cool. So now the restaurants could say, come eat with us and get a suntan.
Yeah.
So what about the people in the condos that have the views? Because there's a lot of condos through that area that are
and that's
really
fine.
tall.
You own your condo, but if you have a party and invite more than 4 people, the condo association is going to get a bill from the FIA.
Wow.
That's insane. That ain't gonna happen.
That's
What about the airplanes that are landing? What are they gonna do? Say, hey.
It's money.
What's that tail
That's
number? I'm
all
going
it
to
is.
charge you. Everybody in that plane is going to be charged. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Everybody on the
flying
right,
over the
on the
track.
left side, on the left side of the
Yeah.
plane.
Yeah,
Yeah, the left side of the plane. Hey, you know, all right,
Don't
what's your
look
seat
out
number?
the left side of the aircraft.
Yeah. I mean, I got an idea. Spirit just went bankrupt. You know, they could say, all right, fuck it, man. Here we are. We're gonna fly to make some money. We're gonna just fly over the
Round
F1
in
track,
circles.
you know? Yeah.
yeah. Well, you know what drove him into bankruptcy was those bullets from Haiti. So, you know, hey,
What bullets from Haiti?
I'd never fly on that airline anyway.
Yeah,
Jeez.
well,
I had somebody's
Spirit
flew.
Airline.
One of my friends flew on Spirit to come here, and he said that his knees were firmly against the back of the seat. He couldn't. He says when I wanted to tilt my seat back, it was a quarter of an inch. It went back.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is Spirit Airline. The big thing was they were taking people. They were one of the few airlines to go into Port-au-Prince, and the gangs shot at them when they were trying to land, and a flight attendant, you know, caught a stray piece of shrapnel from the bullet, so they landed in the Dominican Republic, and then, well, yeah. If y'all
Look,
want
it's
to go
hard
to
to
Haiti,
believe,
good
if you
luck.
ask me. It's just so hard to believe that people in Haiti would be shooting at planes. What the hell are they thinking? I mean,
Well,
it's
yeah, they
almost
had
to
that,
me.
plus all the dogs and cats were fighting in the cabin.
That's right. Plus, they were eating them for lunch, for snacks. I mean, really. But beside that, I mean, you know, today we were driving in downtown Las Vegas, right? And Bo says, she points out to me, why is that person sleeping in the street? And why do they have a shopping cart? You know?
No,
They were so tired from shopping that they took a nap on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
we want to know what your sarcastic ass answer was.
you know, I said, well, these people are homeless, baby. These, you know, they don't have any place to live. And she had a hard time understanding, well, you know, if they're there, why are they treating that area so poorly? Why are they making it so dirty? You
Yeah,
know, if
that's
they're living there, they should be keeping it clean, you know, but it's just the opposite. They don't.
when I lived in a very poor country for a very long time, and people without, you know, any resources at all, and they would still manage to put together a small little hut made out of bamboo next to the beach, and you know, they just
Yeah.
the worst poverty is definitely in dense urban areas. There's no question.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Kurt, speaking of dense urban areas
well,
up there
no,
in
he's
Seattle.
in the middle of a bomb cyclone.
Yeah,
so,
the bomb cyclone,
Oh
baby.
yeah, how are the bombs?
Oh, it was a bomb.
The bombs are. I thought that at first
was a
when I read
bust.
about it. I thought it was a circus that came to town, you know. And
We
then I
had-
realized, wow, that's like some sort of weather. They say it's a every 100-year kind of thing that what would happen.
We
Yet
were
it seems
in
it's
kind of a
happening every
high.
10 minutes.
We were in kind of a relatively calm zone. Towards the coast was really bad on the water, and at the foot of the hills of the Cascades, which is not that far from me, maybe 40 miles, the most 30 miles. It got pretty crazy out there, but we were in a little bit of a shadow, I think, because we're so close to, I'm pretty close to Rainier.
what about Robert moving in?
I talked to him today. He's not in any place that would have been impacted. I'm sure
He moved up to Seattle. I thought he was moving to Portland.
No. He's moving to the region. He didn't move to Seattle.
Oh, okay. To the region. I like that. The region. You know, that's
Yeah.
okay.
I'm not gonna
That's,
say where he is because that's not my thing to say.
yeah, well, it doesn't matter. We know he's in the region. There, is that the name of a hotel? The Region Hotels?
Yeah, the
You
region.
know, there it is. So there you have it. You know, there he is. He's staying at the region.
Great lobby bar at the region.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So what else is going on up there? Are you still working, or is the weather changed?
Oh, we're not doing anything outside. We've done some pretty big corporate and some little corporates, and I've got a bunch of design work that I'm doing for churches Yeah, some installations and some active demos going on. I got a panther demo in one and a leopard demo in another one, and working away at it.
People are saying right now, I was just reading, and I know that for sure, I was in Baltimore during the fall, and it was so warm. And they're saying that, there was no fall. Fall just disappeared. It went from summer to, boom. The next thing you know, we're still in summer. I mean, today it was like 70 degrees here. It's like warm everywhere. Has anybody experienced any cold?
It was pretty cold here 2 days ago, but this storm that came through brought a lot of warm moisture. So it was in upper 40s today.
No, no,
Yeah.
LA's chilly. It's like that's 62 to 64. We're close to the water, and then at night it's in the low 40s.
Yeah.
Right.
New York City is in a drought. Okay, they got forest fires in New York City, Queens.
It's the first time
and
that
the
New York
Bronx.
in a long time. I mean,
Greg, there are no trees for
There's
forest fires in
It's
New
just
York City.
there's a
buddy.
forest fire in New York City. You don't know how weird that sounded.
A tree grows in
Park is
Brooklyn,
burning.
baby. A tree grows in Brooklyn. That's it. It's one, and now it's on fire. It's a holy bush.
It's the sequel. A tree burns in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's dry when the parks on top of those buildings start burning.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Did you hear about the priest that lost his job because he let Sabrina Carpenter do a video in his church?
No, is that for real?
Yeah. It's really, I wouldn't make this up. I mean, people are crazy right now. I mean, people are insane. Sotheby's right now. I'm not making this up.
Oh,
Sotheby's,
yeah. Jeff
it's
Beck.
auctioning off a banana and a roll of duct tape. And they're expecting to get $1 million for this from artwork. And it comes with instructions on how to put the banana up on your wall with some duct tape.
For $1 million, it better fucking come with some instructions. I mean, normally I would take instructions and just throw them out. I never read instructions, but if I drop a mill on a banana, I'm definitely going to read the fucking instructions.
Yeah, and you got to buy the banana again. In other words, the banana that comes with it may or may not be good, so you might have to go to the supermarket and buy another banana to replace the banana you get.
I'm wondering, is this the banana from Starship 6?
Don't know. I don't know. I
see that. Yeah.
There's an interesting thing about bananas, and the people who study the chimpanzees and the gorillas and the apes and all that, they have pointed out that humans eat a banana incorrectly. All of those species hold it by the stem and peel from the base. We hold it from the base and peel from the stem.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. That's
who
curious.
do you trust better to have proper banana technique?
Well, I would think it would be Betty White.
The stem is the handle.
Is there an app for that? Wait a minute.
No, but there's a band. There's a band for it, Bananarama.
Yeah.
Got that.
By the way, Betty White could probably tell you better than anyone else. And by the way, just the reason I bring up Betty White is because they're going to make a postage stamp out of her.
Yes.
Really?
Isn't that cool?
Well deserved.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Betty White, baby. Betty White's going to be on a postage stamp, But, you can't lick it anymore. So that's it. They're all self-adhesive.
Speaking of auctions, Jan, what do y'all think about Jeff Beck's widow putting up all of his guitars and his stage pedal board up? I think it's Christie's this next week. And
wow, I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about that is most people will not bid up a celebrity item unless it has some value to it. So in other words, if let's just say he's got a Fender Strat, right? But there's not a picture of him holding that Fender Strat that you can document that it's his Fender Strat. It's hard to get money for it.
Auction. Go to Google it right now. It all comes with photos of him playing it.
Right, there you go. You see? So that's it. So if you want to have a guitar.
Do your own research.
If you want to have a
and have a
guitar that Chris Beck played, I mean that Greg Baker played. I mean,
no. Yeah, great. You're gonna have to look for a cello that Greg Baker played.
yes, that's it. That's it.
That's gonna
So
give you big bucks.
yeah, when I was watching that fight this weekend, I was thinking that it might, at one point in time, I shut my eyes. I said, "Is that Greg Baker announcing the fight?" I said, "What the hell?" Did anybody see that fight?
I tell you what, all I know is I know a lot of people who used to work in the network operations center for Netflix, and they left because they start cutting back, and Netflix got hammered for all the buffering for their live event.
Oh my God, it was horrible. I didn't realize what it was going on at the time. I thought it was just our system, here, but no, it turns out it was, but Netflix, I mean, based on the Netflix thing, right? So they paid this guy Paul 40 million bucks, and they paid Tyson 20 million bucks, right? So now you think about it, he had eight landed punches, I believe, or he threw 8 punches. That's an insane amount of money per punch that he got. But Netflix didn't do that well. Netflix, they got 65 million viewers, but they only made like 18 million. So they took a pretty big beating on this.
Who won?
Beating.
Who won?
Nope. Netflix.
No. I mean Tyson or
no, not Tyson. I forget the other guy's name.
No, Paul won. Jake Paul won. But everybody, it was a ridiculous fight. I mean, it was like, I can't imagine that they're gonna get any suckers to watch a rematch of that fight.
But what's interesting, though, it says a big thing about the Dallas Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. They opened up that stadium, and to all these people, the Dallas Cowboys are all about show. They opened it up to all these people, and then 4 days later, the Dallas Cowboys got pretty much spanked. And
were they in the fight too? Because I missed them. I saw the cheerleaders.
No, don't touch the cheerleaders. No, you don't.
I saw there was like 1,000 million cheerleaders on the, their Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. I mean, it was a very impressive event, that they got so many people there. But the reality, the event itself was very lackluster, and I don't think I'm going to be watching the rerun anytime soon.
No.
So did Tyson get knocked out, or did the guy win on points?
No.
Was it a points thing?
Yeah.
He only landed eight punches, or he only made 8.
Tyson or the other guy landed 8 punches?
Tyson did 8 punches. The other guy did 22. I mean, it was such a restricted match. We're not talking, Rocky versus Yvonne.
Yeah, and over 100,000 people complained that the streaming sucked.
Oh, it was horrible.
So yeah, because it definitely, I definitely saw, like it would stop in the middle, and then I would lose the voice, and then that's why I almost called you up on the phone to hear you call the fight, but I guess it wasn't you. So there you go.
Well, listen, you were in mid preparation for your big day, sir. So
no, that was after the big day. I think it was I was going. No, it was the day before. It was because I was going to my party. Yeah. I was going to a dinner party. That's it, But the other thing that's another guy, another legend that he's going out of retirement for right now is Nadal, Rafael Nadal. He's got one more set to go, and that's it. He's playing his final tournament this weekend, and I wish him the best of luck.
Hurt for quite some time, so
yeah,
since last He had the withdrawal from Wimbledon, I think, French Open and then Wimbledon, and then what do you do?
Yeah, he really played. He had a very, very illustrious career. Now we'll see him playing pickleball any day right now. I figure he'll be a
that's right.
pickleball player.
And he'll be sitting there going, "Where's that Jan Landy guy? I want to."
He'll come down and play with us. That's about the size of it. He'll play with us. But you know what I was surprised to learn about Nadal is that he was a righty, and his uncle made him play lefty. Isn't that insane?
Does he sign autographs right or left?
I have no idea. I'm glad you asked a GP question rather than an X-rated one. Thank you for sharing that. Anyway, so tell me what you think of this.
6 minutes before you gotta.
All right. So here's a story I read, and it just blew my mind about Americans. All right. And I will tell you. So Costco is recalling 80,000 pounds of butter from their shelves.
I heard.
And you know why? Because on the label, it didn't say that it was made with milk.
Which is a big thing for some people.
Really?
How else could you have dairy butter without having, in other words, it's dairy butter, which means it comes from a dairy, comes from cows, and it's butter. It's got milk. Butter is heavy milk. That's all there is to it.
Right. It's the cream from the top of the milk, isn't it?
Yeah.
They had to make the milk first.
It doesn't apply to me, but I understand the reason why they did it. But yeah, it's a big hit.
It's almost amazing to me. You buy a bag of pistachio nuts, and on the label it says, "This product contains nuts."
Yeah.
Well, how many people did they say read it at 6th grade level?
Right. I would think that I went down to Fremont Street today, and I would be surprised if any of them could read at 3rd grade level. Now,
did you go to the Heart Attack Cafe on Fremont?
No, we just drove around. Bo didn't want to get out of the car, and I didn't blame her. I didn't want her to get out of the car either.
My boys went there. I sent them the picture of the burger, and they like when they were in Vegas, we're going to go eat there, and they did.
They have one burger there that if you can finish it,
you don't have to pay.
You don't have to pay.
Is Bo ready to go home now?
Oh God, yeah, she's sitting there. I think she's wearing her jacket. She's back. She's got, she's counting down the time. She's counting down. She's counting down every second. As a matter of fact, I got to ask her to do me a favor. Hey, Bo, can you do me a favor and charge my watch, please? Do you want to come and say hello to everybody that want to wish you congratulations or no? There she is. Whoa.
Congratulations.
Mrs. Landy, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Landy, there you go. All right, Mrs. Landy, hit the road.
So she's changing her name?
I don't know. She wants to. If she does, I will support that.
Yeah, my wife didn't.
I mean, the reality of where I got married is a factory. It's a factory. It's absolutely a factory. The little church of the West. When you start to talk to people, you'll be surprised on how many people got married there. I mean, an amazing amount of people get married.
I tell you what, if you hung on the live stream, literally 1 minute after y'all walked out, you're on to the next one, Mr. Bradshaw or whatever.
That's right. 15 minutes, every 15 minutes on the 15 minutes. And I'll just tell you a couple of quick asides. This is your wedding, and, you don't want to be thinking about, nickel and dime stuff. You just don't want to think about it, right? And so, so now, so that all my guests could take video and cell phone pictures, I had to pay a photographer $500 to let that happen.
That's what you were saying last week.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's okay. So now
you told us that story. So
a wedding license in the state of Nevada, certified wedding license is $20. I know this because I got an email from the state saying that, it's $20. But I needed the wedding license. I didn't want to go down to City Hall. So I asked the minister, I said to the minister, by the way, the minister has 10 days before they have to file your paperwork, right? So I said, well, look, I really need it filed in the next couple of days. She says, well, no problem. And so I was told that it was going to be like $60 additional. Anyway, yada, 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 $500 later, I got one piece of paper from the minister, and I said, what? One piece of paper? What good is one? I need two. All right, well, we'll get you another one, but nobody asked for two. So, I mean, it's just insane. The photographer, I paid for a photographer, but what I didn't pay for was the photos that he took. That,
So
That's weird.
The bottom line was it was 5 figures.
Oh yeah, the wedding was the wedding, with the party. I'll tell you a little story. I didn't know how many people were showing up, so I had a dilemma on what kind of place I was going to have it at. So I needed a place that would accommodate 2 people and would accommodate 40 people. And I didn't know how to do that, so. I had gone to a party once at this place called PT Gold's, which is really nice. It's up on Horizon Ridge. If you've ever been to Vegas, super nice place. Very big, open, and they had an outdoor area that we could have had, but they gave us a corner of the restaurant. And so she said, according to how many people come, we'll open it up a little bit more. Well, we had over 35 people. Everything was good, and so. I had given them my credit card, and so they said, well, how much limit do you want? And I gave them I said, how much you think? She said, well, maybe, $250. I said, oh, let's go 300. 15 minutes later, she came to me and she says, we're at that limit now. What do you want to do? And I looked around the room. I looked around the room and I said to myself, I know everybody here. I know, they're all friends. I said, take the limit off, just enjoy, but do me one favor. If somebody wants to pay for something, don't stop them. Don't encourage it, but don't stop them, And Mike Brown, I got to give Mike Brown a lot of credit. He wanted to buy the appetizers, so he started buying the appetizers. And so we bought the drinks. And it worked out to be really, really nice. I mean, but one couple, this blew my mind. One couple. Not only did they order food at the party, because everybody could order the menu, but they ate their food, and then they ordered food to go. They ordered food to go. I
Really?
fucking couldn't believe it. I said, what the hell? And needless to say,
Well,
these people are on my shit list now for the rest of
they're
time.
off your Socron list.
Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely not inviting them to anything I ever have again. That's for sure. But I was very upset over that they ordered, they ordered food to go, and they did not pay for it. They wanted me to pay for it, for their food to go. Plus they were, plus normally they don't even drink, and now they were drinking. You got Chivas? What do you got? What?
Well, Jan,
I only drink Chivas when I'm alone when I'm not paying.
In my defense, the hotel bar was closed, so I didn't have a choice.
Very good. Very, very good. Well, it was good. I really appreciate everybody who sent their thoughts.
Signature. I think, Jan, you should ask for a traveling, birthday present, a signature Kurt Hare, compilation.
Well, you know what? I don't think I deserve one of those, but if I did, if I did.
I'm just planting the seed, Kurt.
Yeah.
I got to tell you something. I didn't want anything from anybody. All I wanted them to, I said to anybody who asked me, is there anything you want or anything you need? I said, if you feel the desire to give us a gift, just make a donation to your favorite charity, whatever it might be. I'm not expecting anything, nor do I want anything. we're fortunate enough. Basically, I feel like I'm the most fortunate guy in the world. I am happy. It looks like the cancer behind me. Everything is good. I'm happily married now. I've got a good life, and hopefully now I can go back to Thailand and start focusing a little bit on my business. Because these last 3 months, I haven't had the headspace to really work on SoundBroker. It's like been very, very difficult for me. Very,
You
very
have
difficult.
so many business opportunities, sir. I mean, I heard through the grapevine that, Kurt wanted to sell a gamble, but I found out that, that was just a ruse.
Yeah, nah, he's not going to sell them. He just bought a bigger building to stack them up. That's
Yeah.
it. All right, we're getting at the time. I've got to say
Yep.
goodbye, everybody. Is there anybody that has anything that they want to say to our listening audience?
Yeah. Chris, why isn't the screen center between the speakers and what's on top of the 1X40?
Oh, that speaker is what makes all the difference in my sound system.
This is going to be interesting.
It's the Bose, and that's really what gives it all of the low end that I'm getting is really coming from this.
Have you heard
No,
the Bose
no,
line arrays?
It's all
Oh, Lord.
no highs, no lows, must be
They
Bose.
they are pitiful.
Yeah.
Oh man, Kenny struggles with it every week, and the man.
Well, that's interesting because those guys down at Mastermind in Orange County, they had a lot of JBL stuff.
They have a ton of JBL stuff. Yeah, it sounds great. We have a bunch of stuff too, but it's the Bose that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
The Japanese American Theater in LA has a whole Bose system that Yamaha used to do a demo, and it was the worst sounding thing I ever heard in my life.
Well, have you heard the Pioneer?
No, they have a line array.
Well, the one thing I will say is it's better than what they had in there.
Stacked on top of each other. Yeah, flown.
All right, boys and girls.
Chris, you didn't answer the real question. Why isn't the screen center between the speakers?
Oh, right.
Oh, that's a good question.
It drives me nuts every week.
Because of the door. That's what it is.
Because he sits at his drum kit against the wall right there, and he needed to move the screen over.
I'll have to think about that.
The screen attached to the wall.
Yeah, because the indoor unit for
You need a screen balance control.
the indoor unit for the split is centered on the wall. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I think it was so that you could be in the kitchen, and then you can also turn it for the couch that's over here. So
there you go. You see, there's a logical reason.
The screen predates the X40s then.
Yeah, the screen's quite small. It's only like 40 inches,
but it was there first.
That's a great question. I'll find out. It could be moved. That's an interesting point.
There you go. Now you've got your assignment for the week.
You just planted a worm.
Yeah, now exactly.
Now it's gonna bug him for a while. Now he's gonna look at it every day.
Now I'm gonna be like, what the fuck?
Well, happy to help.
Oh yeah, thank you.
I want to thank you all for coming.
I'll just move the wall over so that it looks more.
It might be easier.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank you all.
Jan.
Thanks, Jan.
Thank you.
Hey, Jan, have a good trip home, babe.
Yeah,
all right, just remember, do your thing. Click the like buttons, do whatever you got to do. Whatever it is you want to do, that'll be cool with me. Just remember, you make it happen. Let me just go back to this because that's what I want to do. Listen, just remember, you make it happen. Have a great week, everybody. We'll be coming to you live from Bangkok, or actually Hue next week, if everything goes as planned on this trip tonight. So there you have it. Until then, remember, everything you heard today is an opinion, so do your own research. And just remember, next week will be 335 times. Tell your friends. come and join us. Remember, you make it happen. Stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you again next time. Bye now. And thank you, everybody, for all the kind wishes for my marriage and for just life in general. So thanks a lot.